Hey guys, hello and welcome to Pregame tutorial series. This series we're going to go over how to make your own prop hunt. I know I've covered these in the past, but at the time I was limited to 15-minute videos, and I've also learned quite a bit more about some of the devices, what they do, and how to make a better prop hunt using some different methods and all that good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. We're going to cover the boring stuff to start, and to do so we're just going to go into your island settings and cover that kind of stuff to start. So we're going to go into here under mode. You're going to go to structure, and you're going to pick the number of players that you want max. I usually do a 2-to-1 props to hunters ratio, which always leaves you with an odd number of players. So most of the time I'm going to do 9. So it'll be 6 props to 3 hunters. And I'll show you how to do all that in just a minute. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and leave that there. And then the teams, you're going to set that as a dynamic. Or I'm sorry, you're going to set 2 teams. Team size is dynamic. And then you just pick the total number of rounds you want. I'm going to do, I think, probably like 10. Okay. And then under the matchmaking settings, I usually just leave this as a party choice so they can choose if they want to play a public round or private with just their friends. And friendly fire is off. Another thing is important, make sure team rotation is turned to every round. That's all fine. Class settings. I'm not going to choose class for this one. You can create your own custom classes if you choose, but for this particular game mode, I'm going to leave it as no class. Game start, this kind of like if you want to change like force start or the game start countdown, I'm just going to leave that all at default. Spawn location is default spawn pads. Make sure that's set on spawn pads. You can change how long it takes for them to respawn if you want. I'm not going to do that. Spawn limit. Whatever you have this set to, if you wish to make an infection style prop hunt, you can still leave this as infinite, and then under your prop team settings and inventory, you can set that to just 1. So that way whenever they get eliminated, they will go and join the hunters team, and I'll show you how to do all that in a minute. But for now, the island settings, I'm just going to go ahead and leave that for there. Join in progress, I'm going to go ahead and set that to spawn on next round. So that way, if you're playing and somebody joins the match, they don't join as a prop or something, and then the hunters have another prop to find, or they just spawn in and don't have anything to hide as. So I'm just going to leave that as spawn on next round. And then after the last spawn, you can have it set to spectating or whatever. But all this, if you can use this for your infection style as well, but I'm just going to have it set to there. We'll change the other settings on it later under the actual team settings and inventory. Down but not out. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Limited players items, we're going to delete them. And I'll go over that a little bit more in detail later. Main respawning is fine if they choose to do that. Scoring, I'll go ahead and turn this off. If you ever have a map that has like you have vehicles or something on it and you have it set to score, if somebody does like some tricks or on the like a backflip on a motorcycle or whatever, it will give them points and that goes towards their score. So I do go ahead and just turn that off, just generic for most maps I make. Time alive start point will be player spawn. Tracking method, we're going to go to the longest. This is ever if you have to do a like a tiebreaker and use time alive, it'll go to whoever was alive the longest to kind of break the score if you need to. I don't think I'm going to mess with this here. I might mess with it later, but for now I'm going to go ahead and leave that at 0. I might change it, I don't know. Voice chat, spectating. Make sure that allow spectating other teams is not allowed. You don't want one of your hunters to spectate a prop and know exactly where they're at and kind of help out their buddies. That's kind of interesting. This here, the last standing ends game, I would go ahead and leave that off. That can really end a game quickly because it not just ends the round, it ends the entire game. And victory condition, this stuff is all fine. You can set this all up to be as customized as you want. The post game, you can have it say something specifically. if you choose. I'm just going to leave it all at the default. Okay, time limit, we're going to go ahead and set that to 10 minutes. Eliminations to end, and none of that. Objectives, collect items, score to end. And you can mess with all this in other devices later. But so for the island settings themselves, I'm just going to go ahead and leave this all at the default settings. And here we go, round win condition. This is what you can set for other things. We can set it for elimination, score, or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and set this onto score. Oh, passed it. Okay, cool. And then the tiebreaker, I'm going to have it set to time alive. Okay. If you wish to give your players like an unlimited sprint to where they can sprint around forever, really, this is where you change that. Is under the locomotion setting. You'll go into here and you'll go down to the sprint cost per second, which I'm going to turn the hurdling on real fast. Sprinting energy cost per second. So for every second, it costs 20 energy. And you can turn that to 0 if you choose, or as low or as high as you want it to be. I'm going to have mine set to 0. And sliding glider redeploy. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. That's up to you if you want to turn that off or not. If they jump off a building, can they redeploy their glider? That's up to you if you choose to have that. All right. Leave that fine. I'm going to go ahead and turn the shields off. Oop, passed it. There we go. Self-damage, I'm going to leave it on the default setting at 0. And under the team settings inventory for whatever hunter team I have, I'm going to go ahead and put self-damage on. That way they can, like if a hunter just shoots a bunch and misses, that they'll end up hurting themselves, and keep them a little more precise and not just shooting everything they find. And this is kind of more customization stuff. If you have vehicles, you can have vehicle settings. Harvesting stuff and ambiance. You can set the time of day, camera filters, all that good stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and leave that all as default. The HUD info type, you can mess with all what kind of stuff you want your players to see and all that good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and put score, I think. Yeah. And you can turn the top center score HUD on if you want. I'm not going to do that. The max trackers, I'm going to go ahead and set it to the highest. If you use trackers, it's fine. If you don't use trackers, it doesn't matter. This is just, you can have up to 6. Whether you use them or not, I just go ahead and always set it to as high as you can, because if you do use them, you use them. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't matter this setting. I am not going to have building allowed, so just showing the resource count, I'm just go ahead and turn all those as false. That should cover all the settings. Okay, so now we got all the boring settings out of the way, we're going to go ahead and build a pre-game lobby area for your players to spawn into as soon as they join your game. So I'm going to go ahead and build that up real quick. Okay, so now that I got this little pre-game lobby area built, all I did was I went and literally grabbed a prefabricated like little townhouse thing and put some grass around it, and that's what I'm going to use as my pregame lobby. So in order to make it a little bit more captivating, I guess, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go to devices. We're going to drop a barrier device in there to keep players from running around outside of it. I'm going to go ahead and grab some player spawners. And I'm also going to grab a mutator zone as well. So we'll grab all of that real quick and go ahead and place those, and I'll explain them as we go. So first off, I'm going to drop this barrier device. Place it like somewhere kind of up and out of the way. And just make sure that it will cover the entire thing. So we're going to flip that upside down. Make sure it's kind of center. And I'm just going to change it. I'm going to call this the pregame barrier. It is very important to label all your devices, especially when it goes later on and you get confused, especially you have like so many teleporter devices and you're trying to keep track of which one goes where. So for this pregame barrier device, we're going to go ahead and set it for a hollow box under the zone shape. And I'm gonna this is just gonna be like figuring out what size you want it. So the depth is how obviously deep it is, and then I'm gonna set that for, let's go like 8. The width is how wide it is, obviously, and then the height is how tall it is. So let's go like 7 and see where that gets me. Okay, it doesn't need to be as deep. So I'm going to turn the depth down a couple tiles. Let's do like 6 and see where that goes. Okay, looks pretty good. I'm going to move it just a little bit, kind of more centered. Okay, looks pretty good. Okay, and now we can change what we want it to look like. We obviously don't want players to see outside of it, so we'll go in here and you can change it to so many different things, whatever you choose. I'm going to pick something like a sky, probably a cloudy sky. So when you're in it, you just see this cloudy sky. Yeah, that's not bad. It kind of looks like it's floating though. Maybe I'll pick something else. Maybe like a star field. Let's see what that looks like. Still kind of looks like it's floating. It looks like nighttime outside. It's fine, I guess. Okay. So now I got that set up. We're going to go ahead and place our player spawners. You're going to need 1 player spawner for each of your players. And so I have 9. So I'm going to do 9 player spawners. I'm going to do 2 separate ones for now. And I'll copy and paste the rest of them. Okay. Oh, I stole it. Okay. All right. So we're gonna call this team 1 player spawner. All right, and then this is gonna be team 1. Use this island start. Make sure that's on, visible in game. Turn that off so they don't see the little base part of it. And the rest of it should be fine. So with that being said, you can copy paste it. I'm going to have team 1 be my props. So there's going to be 6 of those and then 3 of the others. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Likewise over here, this is going to be team 2 and not visible. And there's 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now we got that set up. We're going to go ahead and go into over here, and somewhere outside your play area that people are going to see, we're going to make team settings and inventory. You're going to need 2 of those, 1 for each team. Call this team 1 settings. And I'll change it in a second. Just want to label them real fast. And team 2 settings. Okay. Alright, the team 1 settings, you can give the name. I make team 1 the props. And set that to team 1. And I'm going to do an infection style. So, which means that the props will only have 1 life, 1 spawn, and whenever they get eliminated, they're going to join the other team. And I'll show you how to do that real quick with just these settings. So we're going to go down here. You can mess with all this if you choose. I'm going to leave it. Another thing, max health, I'm going to go ahead and have that set really low, like 25. You can choose to have it whatever you want. I'm going to set it low that when they get shot, they get eliminated. Scroll down. Just keep in mind whatever settings you change in the actual team settings and inventory will override your island settings that we made earlier. So just keep that in mind as you're changing these. So if I have glider redeploy turned off, if I turn this on, team 1 can have it, but team 2 can't. So that's what that kind of means. Spawn limit, here's what I want. We're going to have that set to 1. This number includes the first time they spawn into the game. So if you have it set to 0, they will never spawn. So just make sure that is set to 1. And then after last spawn, go to team 2. That's the hunter team that I'm going to make. Under max initial team size, that's fine. The initial team size ratio, this is what we're going to change to make it kind of off balance to where there's more props than hunters. And you're going to set this number to 2. And then on the hunters team, we're going to have this number set to 1. So that way 2 to 1 ratio. And I think, I don't know if I have item drop on or not, but it's going to be turned off. Okay. This is the hunters. And you can just give them whatever name you want. The team name you type here will be seen by your players, so just keep that in mind. Keep scrolling. The spawn limit on this one's going to be unlimited. And don't have to change that. I will change the initial team size ratio to 1. And thought there was, oh yeah, the self damage. The self damage on hit amount, I'm going to have that set pretty low. It's going to be like 1. And then self damage only on non-zero damage off. So with this right here, these 2 settings I have turned on, anytime somebody on team 2, the hunters, shoots and misses, they will deal themselves 1 damage. So they can eliminate themselves if they're not careful. That will just keep your hunters from just going through and shooting everything and trying to find the props. They'll make them be a little bit more precise so they don't just, making it a little bit harder for them basically. And no item drop. Okay, that should be it, I think. Alright, so that'll cover the team settings and inventory. Alright, so the next thing I want to set up, I'm going to set up, I also need timer devices, I forgot about those. These are important for triggers later. But I'm going to set up 2 separate mutator zones. One of them is going to be off all the time, and one of them is going to be on. Or one of them is going to be set to off to start, and one of them is going to be on all the time. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to use to teleport my players. Okay, so when you're making this one, or your mutator zones, make sure they are bigger than your barrier device, so that way anybody inside it will automatically be affected by it. This one I'm going to set to, when it's enabled on phase, it's going to be set to off or none. And then we'll just make sure it's a little bit bigger. So I think the width on it, I had it set to 8, so we'll make it 9. The depth, let's try 7. And height, let's try 7. Let's see where that gets me. I don't think I have to mess with anything else. Okay. Just making sure it's bigger in every way than my barrier device, including below it. Yep, we're good. All right. So this mutator zone we just made is not on when the game starts. So I'm going to call this one the pregame mutator. Actually, I'm going to call it the teleporter mutator. And I'll go over that in just a minute. Because we are going to use this mutator device to teleport every player inside it to the areas they need to go to. And then the other mutator device we're going to make is I'm going to put it below it just so I don't get confused. Actually, it doesn't really matter. It's just going to be a little weird being above it. And I'm going to call this one the pregame mutator. Okay, this one is going to be on all the time. And we can make it just the same size as the other one. Actually, 9 by 7 by 7 should be good. This mutator zone here is going to keep people from shooting other people inside this area before they can get a chance to, and or killing your other teammates. So, all right. It's good, good, and good. Okay. So now that we got that set up, players will spawn into here. Oh, keep in mind, in that barrier device you made, it has to be set to a hollow box, otherwise players cannot spawn inside of it. If you have it set to a cylinder or just a regular box, players will not spawn inside of it and they will teleport from the sky. You do not want that. You want them to be able to teleport inside it. So make sure it's a hollow box. So we're going to go ahead and test this out real fast, just to make sure everything works out. And I spawn inside just like I should, and I do. There we go. Perfect. So I spawn inside this little area. I'll probably move those spawn pads so that they're not on the edge. Maybe they won't be able to see outside the zone to start. Just go ahead and move them all inside a little bit. Okay. And likewise with the other one. Okay. Oh, I guess I copied those ones. Okay. So now we got that set up. I'm going to go ahead and set up some other devices. I'm going to try and keep it all in the same kind of area. So over here is where I have these. So I'm going to place my timer device over here with this stuff. Okay. This timer I'm going to call the pregame timer. And we are going to use it to activate that mutator zone that we made just a minute ago. And I'm going to have this set pretty low. It's going to be like 15 seconds. And start at game start is going to be set to on. So what's going to happen, what we're going to do with this is whenever this 15-second counts down, it's going to turn on that mutator zone, and then everybody inside there is going to teleport to their areas. So that's what we're going to use this for. Yes, success on timer end is true. Completion behavior you're going to set to reset. Reset, that means whenever it counts down, it'll go back to its original time but not start again. That way it's set up again for the next round. Because if you leave it on just stop, it won't restart the next round. Okay, timer not started text, we're going to leave blank. On the timer running text, it's going to say game starts in You leave it like that, and that way it'll have the little time next to it. Show in HUD is on for this particular one, and the rest of it's good. Now from there, we're going to go into the little orange ones, and then on success, we're going to send an event to that mutator we made, the teleporter mutator, and it's going to enable. So with this little thing we just set up, 15-second counts down, triggers that first mutator zone we made, and then turns it on. So that covers that. So that should cover your pregame lobby area for now. You can decorate it and put whatever you want. You'll put some like billboards and stuff up just to kind of give some players something to do and read. A lot of times I'll even put in one of those little class or the change stations where they can change their look if they choose. I'll put those in a lot of pregame lobby areas just so they can change what they look like if they want while they're waiting. I can't remember what it's called. It looks like a phone booth. Whatever, I'll look harder for it later. But anyway, so that covers the pregame lobby area. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make two more areas. We're going to make one for your hunters to kind of hang out and wait for the props to hide. And then we're going to make the main play area for your props to hide in before the hunters come find them. So we're going to go ahead and build those both up real fast. Okay, so now that I got those built, I went ahead and just used some prefabricated stuff just to make it easier. I built a castle here, and I just built like a little small village home over there. This is going to be for the hunters, and this is going to be where everybody runs and hides. And I went ahead and put barrier devices around them. Also, make sure that it is a hollow box, like I said, so players can spawn and teleport into them. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and place a couple teleporter devices. Devices here, teleporters. Okay. Place just a couple of those in here. You're going to need several. I don't like the look of that. And you want to make sure it's kind of faced the correct direction. I think I have it rotating the right way. There we go. There we go. We're going to call this one the Hunter in-game teleporter. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and set teleporter rift to not visible, mainly so I don't have to listen to it. But then we're going to go ahead and make some changes into it. Okay. So it is not going to have any groups set to it. It is going to have no group and not have a target group either. Enable during phase is going to be enabled all the time, and then the selected team is whatever team you have your hunters. I have team 2. The rest of it is pretty much generic. I come in and I turn off like the conserve momentum. I turn face player and teleport direction set to on, and maintain rail position off, and this one I set to off as well, the maintain momentum during teleport event. These settings here will keep, like, so let's say a player is sprinting on a teleportation event and they get teleported. That way they're not still sprinting when they emerge from the teleporter. So that's what these do. And I just usually turn those off. It's a kind of a personal preference. It doesn't really affect the game in any way. So we'll do one there. We're going to place another one over here where your props are going to be. I think I need to make that barrier device just a little bit longer. Not much, maybe a couple tiles. Set it to like 15. Let's see what that does for me. Yeah, that'll be great. It covers that, but it opens this up too. So we'll go ahead and make it just a little bigger. Make sure you can't see any grid area. Cool. And we're going to have our props spawn in here. Perfect. We're going to call this one the props in-game teleporter. And likewise with the hunter one, it's not going to have a group or a target group. And make sure it's set for team 1. Rift visible, no. And then the conserve momentum, face players, and all that good stuff that I mess around with. Okay. So I'm going to double check some settings, but that should be good for that anyway. I should have this timer device linked up to the teleporter. Yes. The next thing I need to do real quick is find that mutator zone, this one right here, and on player entering zone, send an event to those teleport devices we just made. So we have should be a team 1 or props and a hunters one. So there's hunter in-game teleport, and the props in-game teleporter. Oh, I probably passed. There it is. Yep. And teleport. Okay. So with that set up, this timer will count down 15 seconds, and then it will enable that mutator zone, the first one. And then anybody that steps into it after it's been enabled will teleport, depending on what team they are, to whichever area. So if they're on the hunters team, team 2 over there, and on the props team, team 1 over here. And we're going to make sure that works. So start in my little area. Perfect. Game starts in. Timer's counting down. Perfect. That worked just the way it should. Kind of just, yep, that's what I was afraid of. I missed something somewhere. And I did. But that's okay, I'll cover it again later. Okay, but the teleporter is working, so. No, where was that spot I missed? Right there. Did I miss any others? Looks good. Okay. So now we have the pregame lobby area set up. The teleporters that get them from there to here, from here to there, The next one we need to set up is another teleporter device, another pair of them actually. And that's going to be for your hunters to get to that area whenever the timer counts down that we haven't made yet. So we'll go ahead and set this one up. This one is actually going to be visible when it enables. So I'm going to call this one let's call it the hunter to area teleporter. Okay. And it is not going to have a group of its own, but it will have a target group, and that's going to be target group A. The enabled during phase is going to be set to no, but for now I'm going to have it on, because once you set this to no, it becomes completely invisible and you cannot see it, and it's very hard to find. The rift visible, yes, and then the rest of the things that I always change. Okay. So I got that one set up, and then we just need to make a target place for it to go. And to make things a little bit more interesting, let's see. Do I want them? Yeah, they can spawn in pretty much the same area. We'll put them over here though. Over here in the corner. I'm not even sure what to name it. Area 2. Okay. Now this one is going to have a group, but not a target group. So this one needs to be the same number as the one that you just made. So the other one you put as a target group, this one you're going to have as a receive group. This one's going to be enabled. It's going to only be team 2. Rift visible, no. Okay. So now that we have that set up, we're going to make some timer devices. Go ahead and place them with the rest of them. Okay. This one is going to be the timer device that depicts how long your props have to hide. So I'm going to give them 30 seconds. Start at game start is going to be set to off. Activating team doesn't matter. Completion behavior, this one is also going to be set to reset. And then a timer running text, hunters released in. And that should be it. Oh, one more thing I need to change is the urgency mode. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on for the last 5 seconds. And then I'm just going to put better hurry. There we go. And what that does is it'll change, like when it's counting down, once it reaches 5 seconds left, it'll get a little bit louder and say, better hurry. That's 3 seconds, not 30. There we go. It might not be long enough. If it's not, I can change it to whatever. Okay. But we need this timer to start when receiving from the pregame timer. Okay. So now That 15-second timer will count down, trigger the mutator zone, teleport everybody to their areas, and also start that 30-second countdown. So once this 30-second countdown completes, I'm going to find the very specific one I want. This one, hunter to area teleporter. And this is the hunter. Okay. This one is going to be, I don't want the ground, I want the teleporter device. Come on, man. Okay. This one we're going to set to enable when receiving from that timer that I probably didn't enable. Yeah, I didn't. On success. Okay. Go ahead and label this for fast before I forget to. We'll call this the hunter timer. Okay. So now that will count down to 30 seconds, and then it will enable this teleporter device. One over here being all annoying. I go ahead and set that to none. Yeah, see, if you set that to none, it's impossible to find. You have to literally like be hovering over it. See, there it is. Like, that's why I usually don't mess with it and make it completely invisible until I'm done, because otherwise you're trying to find it's a nightmare. Okay. Let's make sure that works. Actually, I haven't really changed anything with that, so it should be good. So we have the pregame area, the place for your hunters, the place for everybody to play once they get their stuff. The next thing we want to do is we're going to be able to give your players items. So I'll show you how to do that. We're going to do an item granter. Not an item spawner, an item granter. There we go. We need that. We're also going to need a checkpoint pad. Probably missing something. But for now, we can place these items. So the item granter, we're going to place one for each team. I'm going to go ahead and kind of space them out a little bit further away from this for now, because if you accidentally drop an item and it gets sucked into the wrong thing, it's really annoying. So we're going to call this the Team 2 item granter. And the Team 1 is going to be over here. Okay. And the Team 1 item granter, that's going to be your props. So you want to make sure you give them the correct stuff. Props will only have the Prop-O-Matic. And then while you're here, you can go ahead and pick whichever weapons you want to give your hunters. I usually give them like an assault rifle or a pistol, a shotgun. We're going to do, let's just do a shotgun this time. Find a good shotgun. Tactical pistol, obviously. Let's do a striker pump. And some kind of automatic weapon. That'll work. Okay. So you'll come over to, this is Team 1. So you'll bring up your inventory and then just drop the Prop-O-Matic into it and make sure it picks it up. It did. Good. And we'll come over here and do the same thing with your other items. Awesome. Also kind of important, under your Team 2 or whatever you have your hunter set as, you can give them unlimited ammo. So initial ammo, close to unlimited ammo, I guess. So that way they don't run out of bullets. They'll just kill themselves if they miss a lot. So that's set up good. Now I got these. So now you need to figure out which teleporter device is appropriate. So this one here, you don't want them to get the item as soon as they spawn into the game. You want them to get it whenever they get into their area. So the enabled on start is going to be on. And you want receiving players, the team. Yeah. What other settings we got? Oh, interesting. Team 1. On grant action. Let's go ahead and clear inventory. Grant all items always and not on a cycle. Equip the granted item. Sure. Yeah, and then grant on game start is set to off. We'll go over here and grant item when receiving from. This is team 1, so we need to find that prop teleporter when they emerge from it. So figure out which one it is. Props in-game teleporter. It's probably that one. And on teleported. Okay. And the next one, receiving players. This one's going to be team 2. Grant all items always. No. Equip granted item. Yes. Item 1. Okay. And then grant item when receiving from, if I can remember which one I called it, Hunter to area teleporter. That's probably it. Okay, cool. Let's see what happens. Oh, I don't think I have damage turned off. I should. But the mutator zone's on and I can't. That's good. There's a setting that I did not turn on that I need to turn on, which is going to be very important later. And I'll get it in a minute. Okay, cool. So I did spawn with my Prop-O-Matic. And that works fine. Everything looks good. I can turn into a chair. Cool. Alright, I do want to check this real fast. I should go to the other team. I do. Awesome. And since I don't have a checkpoint set up, I show back at the pregame area, which is okay. It's to be expected for now. Okay. The setting that I did not change is Underworld. No, player, round, mode. No. Okay, yeah, the building. No building. Actually, that's fine. Here it is. Environment damage. No. Okay. That's what I wanted to turn off. Okay, so what's next? Got that all set up. Teleporter devices are working great. I think I'm gonna just run a quick run through. So that timer counts down, triggers this mutator zone, teleports the hunters here and the props there with their weapons respectfully. So while the hunters are in here, they should not have any weapons until they walk through the other one. So this one, Hunter in game, and then the one that's invisible that I can't see. Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and set up a checkpoint device real fast. I'll show you what this is and what it does. It is just like it sounds, a checkpoint device. I'm going to set it up right here. Where you place it is kind of irrelevant so long as it's in this spot, but we're going to go ahead and change some settings on it. Enable and phase is always, activating team. I think team 2. No. Is registering at it the same thing as... I'm going to leave this at team 2 for now, because the way I want it set up is no matter which team you're on, when you spawn in, you'll register at it. So we'll see, leaving it this, if it works or not, and I'll explain that in a little bit more detail later. So you're going to come into this thing and hit register when receiving from both of those teleporter devices, Hunter in-game teleporter, teleported, and the prop one as well. Unteleported. Okay, we'll see if that works, because I don't know if it will or not, but we'll know here in just a second. Okay, so I hang out in this area for just a little bit. And when you're playtesting your game, just keep in mind you'll always start on team 1. So whatever team you have set as team 1, that will be the team you are. Okay, so I did spawn in here. Respawn. Where did it drop it? It's supposed to delete it. Whatever. And it did not work. Okay, cool. Find that checkpoint device. And just set it to any. See if that works. Okay, I spawned in, respawn. Excellent, that worked too. Cool. So now I'm here. And now I can hang out and wait for a couple more seconds to see if that teleporter device shows up. I don't remember which side it's going to show up on. No, not that side. Oh, there it is. And it worked. Excellent. And yeah. But I didn't spawn with my weapons. Don't know if I set that up. I want to figure out why they keep dropping their items. Allow item drop, no. I don't know why it's dropping their items when they get eliminated. That's kind of annoying. Is it in here? Doesn't look like it. to find that setting later. I'm sure it's something I missed. So that one's working. So this one needs to be, I don't think this is turned on. It's supposed to be. Hunter to area teleporter. Let's try that one. Oh, I think I know why. Hang on. So let's go ahead and put that back. Hunter to area teleporter. And instead of on teleported, on enter. We'll try this one more time. Okay. Awesome. So I show up here with my prop gun. Dropping that stupid prop-o-matic, it's annoying. Okay, I should not have my weapons yet. And I can't break. Oh, now it's hurting me. Good. Yay, I have my weapons. Awesome. And shooting a bunch and missing a lot hurts me. Oh. And eliminated. It drops my weapons. What's up with that? I'm sure it's a setting that I missed. But that works. Should come back here. Should be able to jump back through and get my weapons again. Awesome. Okay. Instead of dropping it, it should be deleting it, and I don't know why it's not. Let's figure out what setting I have. Both of them are doing it, so it's something I missed. I know I overlooked it somewhere. There's no way. Limited players items. Here we go. Delete. And we'll do the same thing on this one. Okay, so that should cover that. So we got all the spawning stuff taken care of, all the items and weapons and all that good stuff. So this is a basic of a prop hunt. It's set up pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. In the next video, we'll cover a little bit more details. I'll cover the prop-o-matic details a little bit more. There's actually a device that you can use to really fine-tune your prop-o-matic and really get in depth with that. We'll cover those and just some other miscellaneous stuff, and make sure that the prop hunt you make is really good and set up to however you want. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Thanks all for watching, and happy creating.